Chapter 1. The Introduction. I have been going back and forth with myself for a long time if I was going to make these videos or not. I always admired the FTMs that did make these videos. I used to be like, I'm going to be courageous one day, and one day I'll have the confidence to do it. But lately, that hasn't been the thing. I haven't really been confident lately. And the funny part is that is when I need to do it the most. That's what I realized. I needed to do these videos. I need to do them now because this is one of my low moments. And this is when I need to talk. I would tell myself when I was done transitioning and when I was where I wanted to be in my career, that is when I'll talk. Kept putting it, postponing it, saying I'm going to do it then, and I'll do it then, and I'll do it then. I'm going to wait right now, but I'm going to do it then. But I realized I needed to do it now because there are so many people out there that are going through the same thing that I'm going through. And I need you guys. I need you guys. The funny part is that I'm in law school and I want to be an attorney and I want to speak for people who are disadvantaged, people who are discriminated against wrongfully. Yet in my personal life, I didn't want to speak. I didn't want to use my voice, but I could use my voice in the courtroom. I learned that I need to use my voice no matter what. I need to speak up. And I'm using it now. A little backstory about me. I grew up in a decent family, two-parent household, um, two older brothers. We lived in a nice suburban neighborhood. I went to decent school. Well, I'm going to say it was an okay school because I went back and forth between two schools. One was a predominantly white school, and the other one was a predominantly black school. Both of them had their pros and cons. One thing about the predominantly white school was that I kind of endured more prejudice because of the color of my skin. When I went to the black school, I endured more prejudice because of what I am. What I am, and at that time, I was a bona fide dyke. Yeah, I said it. I was a bona fide dyke. I let it be known that I liked women. I was not going to hide it. I was very upfront about it. In fact, I couldn't go to prom because of it. And then also, I got kicked out of the locker room in gym class. Had to repeat that summer school. The ironic thing is most of the people who picked on me at the black school turned out to be lesbians now. It's kind of funny how that works. You shamed me for being how I was, but then you turn around and you are what you hated. Yeah, that usually how it works. I had a substitute teacher tell me, hey, you're going to go to hell. I had this bastard in my class. First of all, this guy had two fucking kids out of wedlock. Was a piece of shit all day long. But he was a Christian boy. And he was always telling me I was going to hell. I hated his black ass. He was always telling me I was going to hell. And I think I could endure more prejudice because of the color of my skin more than I could endure it for just being who I was. People tell you, well, why don't you just hide it? Why should I have to hide myself because of your ignorance? Why should I have to stay closeted, covered up, and fit your society standards just so I don't offend you? But I'm not happy. Who the fuck are you to tell me how I'm supposed to be? What I'm supposed to be? I dealt with a lot of crap, mainly in middle school and high school. I think most people deal with most of their crap in middle school and high school. But I was always called a gay from elementary, middle school, and high school. I was always made fun of for that. I remember when I was a kid, I used to write letters to God and put it in my Bible, and hopefully He would read it. And it would say, God, wake me up in the right body. God, wake me up, and I'm a boy. And the next day, I would say, God, help me. Then I went through a moment of anger with God because I always thought God was cruel. If God loves everybody, why does God create people that go through the shit that they go through? What for? I still don't have the answer to that part. But I guess it's not for me to understand. I didn't begin transitioning, actively, medically transitioning until I graduated from high school. But before that, I had already began going to the men's restroom. I had already began dressing like a boy. I already just started giving no fucks. I had started practicing binding methods and things with Under Armour shirts. But when I graduated from high school, that weekend I went to the barber shop and I got my hair cut it all off. I had hair down to here and I had them in braids all the time. And the only reason why I kept it is because my mom was like, at least keep your hair till you graduate. At least keep your hair till you graduate. And I hated having long hair. I couldn't stand having long hair because it was too much maintenance for me. I was just always more like, I like to get up and go. I didn't care about the whole maintenance and all of that. And people used to tell me how beautiful my hair was. And I had beautiful thick black hair and it was beautiful and all that crap. And I could care less about any of that. It was just too much damn maintenance for me. So when I graduated, I went right to the barbershop, got my hair cut off. My mom cried the first day. She cried. I felt bad, like, did I make a mistake? Not for me, but more because I made my mom cry. But it was a part of the transition. Shortly after that, I started to look up some doctors in my area that dealt with hormone replacement therapy. And before that, I saw that some of the doctors they required that you had to go to a psychiatrist, which that put me in like a whirlwind because I'm like, what the fuck? Why do I need to go to a psychiatrist? You got people who have, you know, implants in their face that look like cats and reptiles and shit like that, but when it comes to me, I have to go to the fucking psychiatrist now. I went to the psychiatrist and I got one door shut in my face because she didn't take transgender patients. I was bummed out that time because I was so excited about going. I was excited because I'm like, oh, once I get this letter of approval, I'll do my 3 uh, appointments with her, and I get my letter of approval, and then I'm on to hormone replacement therapy. Didn't work like that. I actually got that door shut in my face, and then the next lady I went to, she said it was just completely out of her realm. She doesn't deal with that. Um, I ended up going to my mother's school, nursing school. They provided free counseling for students. I met this guy who was, I forgot his name, it's been a few years, who was doing my counseling. And I did 3 visits with him. Then turn out I went to the doctor and she didn't even want a recommendation from a psychiatrist. She didn't even need it. She just approved it. I was excited when I got approved. First, they put me on the gel, the topical gel that you rub on your arm. That was fine. It's expensive though. I remember going to Walgreens and they told me, okay, for a pack of 3 months, I was looking at $550. Like, I don't have that type of money just laying around to give you for the gel. And then I felt defeated again. Then I contacted my doctor and I told her, hey, I need something cheaper alternative. That's when she decided to do injections. I would inject once a week in my thigh, my upper thigh. And my only problem with her, she didn't talk a lot. She never said anything. She didn't engage and she didn't tell me much of anything of what was going on. She just plucked at some of the facial hair that I already had. She plucked at some of the facial hair, plucked at my leg hair, walked out the room, came back, said, hey, I wrote you a prescription for hormones. Most people are excited about it, and I know I was. I just didn't care for the needle part. I went to her a few times, but then I lost my insurance coverage, and that was another blow. I lost the insurance coverage, and I'm just like, God, what else can I do right now? I don't have the type of money to just do the Chaz Bono and just wake up and say, hey, I'm about to do this and we can get this shit done. I don't have this money for this, and I was very frustrated. I didn't really notice a change with my hormones because anybody around me would tell you that I already looked very manly and really didn't do anything different for me, and I began to get really frustrated because I wanted the Rick Ross beard and I wanted to have a really big, thick, grizzly type of beard, and I didn't get any of that shit. So then, when I lost my insurance coverage, I didn't have her, and I hadn't been on hormones for a few years. So I haven't been on taking any testosterone since I was 23. I'm 25 now, and I haven't been taking any hormones. So basically, since I was 18, I have been trying to go through this maze of doctors and psychiatrists and medicines and insurance and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Um, that feeling of you get one step closer and then you have high hopes and shut you right back down because you get so many doors shut in your face when you are transitioning. You get a lot of doors shut in your face. And that is what I wanted to kind of bring up to you guys who are beginning to transition and you're getting frustrated. Don't get frustrated because transitioning is not easy. It's not an easy process. It can be very complicated, especially if you're like me and you don't live in a really big city. You live more in a Hickville kind of place. Um, you kind of struggle a little bit more with finding doctors who deal with that kind of stuff. You don't want to just get any doctor um, because they don't know much about it. You need to find a doctor who specializes with gender identity, transgender issues. You want a doctor who specializes in a hormone replacement therapy. That's why I would recommend honestly looking for just an endocrinologist and making that your primary doctor at the same time. They deal with pretty much everything. They are amazing. Um, but don't get down in the dumps when things shut in your face. When doors shut in your face, when you feel like you're almost there. A few years ago, actually, I was at the point where I really wanted top surgery. I had been using a binder. I'm sick and tired of a binder. I'm tired. And I had a decent job. I was in sales. And I was making a decent amount of money, but I went to get a loan. And we went through all the paperwork. Everything was good. But then they were like, well, we're not sure because you're a salesperson if you can qualify for the loan because the sales market is so unstable that it's hard to determine if you would be able to pay the money back on time. So yeah, that was a blow. That was a really big blow. I was so hyped about being able to possibly have top surgery. Just recently, I just faced another blow. Actually, I am looking to get a hysterectomy. I went through the bullshit, the pap smear, the ultrasound, and all that crap. I went through all of that shit, and the doctor said, hey, you have fibroids, but they're not big enough for us to really act on it yet, so you were just going to give you birth control. And I don't want to take birth control, so I'm debating on if I'm even going to take that. And I cried about it. I cried really hard because once again, my hopes were high. I was like, I'm taking myself completely out of my comfort zone and doing this because usually I would never go to a gynecologist. I would never get this type of shit done because I'm not going to do it, and that does play a part into your dysphoria. But that is another thing to talk about is that we kind of have to do it even if we don't want to because in my family, ovarian, cervix cancer, those things, uterine cancer, those things are huge and they are very popular in my family. And I needed to just suck it up and get it done. I cried because I was tired of tired. You know, you get tired, you just don't know when your silver lining is going to come, and you don't know what to expect. Right now, I haven't been really wearing a true binder lately because I've been wearing a binder since I was um, 19. And I was wearing a binder every day since I was 19. I would work 8 to 10 hour shifts, even though you're not supposed to. With a binder, I would go to the gym wearing a binder. I just would not part with a binder. But lately, I've been having some back issues, and my ribs are slowly becoming a little more sensitive to these binders, and I haven't been wearing them because of that. Even though we're going through hell right now, don't jeopardize your health for it. I'm saying that not to deter you away from using binders, but don't do like I did. I wore that shit every single day. I wore it working out. I wore it to work. I didn't care if it was 8 to 10 hours. I don't care if I did a 13-hour road trip somewhere. I was wearing it the entire time. I would throw it on just to go grab mail off the mailbox. I became extremely dependent on that binder. And I still long for it. I think my thing is now I just kind of get lighter weight binders. I don't get the triple padded, the ultra strong, you know, binder. And the reason why I did that is because I am kind of top heavy, so I just try to mask it as much as possible. But don't don't because even though it may suck in the long haul, you don't want back pain like I have. I have back pain right now, and you don't want that. I think I created that from years of binder usage, and that solely is the only thing that I've used. I use that every single day. I've even recently tried to test wearing sporting bras, and I just can't get with it. I mean, I have to figure out something, but I don't know what I'm going to do right now. I wish I had an answer for that. Um, I will not have anybody being able to like to comment on these videos because we have a lot of fucktards on YouTube who like to troll shit and say stupid shit, and I don't really have it in me to get pissed off right now, so I'm not even going to allow people to comment on these videos. So don't get mad because you can't comment on videos, and maybe eventually I might actually get on social media again. I haven't been on social media in years. Maybe I'll get on it and try to communicate with you guys. Depending on how many views and thumbs ups I get, I might consider actually talking to you guys directly. But this wraps up chapter 1. I'm sorry that I went over 20 minutes talking to you guys, rambling on about um, things that have went on in my life. Just look out for chapter 2. I don't know when I'm going to make that, probably within the next month. All right.